Welcome to Plain Ketchup's audio podcast, Hot Sauce. Check us out on the web at plainketchuppodcast.com. We'll have new episodes coming to you starting November 11, 2011. Without further ado, here are some sample clippings of upcoming episodes.
There was this point where I made a joke about Asian people, and this Asian girl got offended. And then, the show went well overall, but I think I kind of offended, I don't know, I couldn't tell, but it seemed like she wasn't laughing. And then after the show, I went up to her when we were leaving, and I was like, hey, I hope that joke didn't offend you. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the joke I did. And she's like, what comedy show? And I realized that I actually was talking to a completely different. I think the joke was literally about how Asian people look the same, and unironically, I apologized to the wrong person.
Oh.
That's part of the other reason that I do the website is everybody treats all this shit like it's sacred, and it's not sacred at all. I mean, technically, it is. A lot of it is the sacred texts of a variety of different cultures. But when people were telling definitely Greek and Norse mythology and stuff to each other back in the day, they were probably laughing their asses off. Oh my God, then Zeus banged this other chick. How many chicks is Zeus gonna bang before he gets all banged out?
When I was in fifth grade, we went on a cruise and they were having a big talent show at the end of the run of the cruise. And my dad's like, Jennifer, we're gonna do this. Still have the set list. It was awful. I remember doing poor jokes, and we weren't poor. We're on a cruise ship and we're doing jokes about being poor. I remember they were awful too. Our house is so small that when I put the key in the in the door, whatever, I poked out the back window, or they were awful. Of course, now my dad is upset about my choice of career. It's all your fault.
It's funny, in the band, we had a kind of that thing you do moment. I wrote this song called Caitlin, which I wrote on an acoustic guitar, and it was really kind of a slow thing. I thought it would be a slower song. And then when I played it with the band, our drummer started playing it a lot faster than I pictured it. So I was it was really that moment in the movie where he's like, Alex, that's too fast. No, Alex, stop, that's too fast. And then we just started playing it, and we ended up liking it a lot. So it ended up staying faster and being kind of more electric than we expect. And also, that's actually our iTunes best-selling track.
Ah. Do you guys have anything weird on your rider?
Well, we ask for, one of the things we ask for is backstage there is to be a chair that only I can sit in, that no one else has ever sat in before. And directly after our performance, it must be destroyed. And proof of that must be sent on VHS tape to my booking agent.
See, I was just imagining a special kind of cheese. That is so much better.
It's mostly just to get the venue and the promoter ready for our brand of zaniness. We played a show in Winter Park, Colorado, and walked backstage, and there was a brand new chair with a sign on it, Mr. Mayfield only.
There was the thing that I remember the most, when I realized I have to quit this already. There was two workers that were sitting at my break table, and one person noticed the other guy was eating a pastrami sandwich, and decided, let's talk about this. They went from discussing what sandwich they're eating to what other kinds of sandwiches they like.
To other kinds of sandwiches that exist in the world.
Other kind of sandwiches. And eventually, it went from saying, I like this. Do you like this? Or I've had this sandwich. It turned into just naming foods that they've eaten. And if you just walk into the room, it just literally sounded like two people saying different things you can eat.
You don't have to spend, $60,000 on a video. And we did that in our first record. We probably spent $400,000 on videos on our first record.
Wow.
Because it's not just a video; it's flying the band to Los Angeles and craft services and travel and hotel and all that stuff, and it just adds up.
Hawthorne and Sophia Peabody, to whom he was engaged, couldn't afford to get married, and so Emerson invited Hawthorne to come and live in a house called the Old Man's. And Emerson invited Margaret Fuller to come and stay at the Emerson house. And at one point, Emerson came upon Margaret Fuller and Nathaniel Hawthorne sort of lying in the grass.
Ah.
And pretty quickly after that, Emerson took his house back and told Hawthorne and Sophia that they had to find somewhere else to live.
Scandalous.
And Madison is very hot. I hadn't realized quite how hot and humid.
Well, we have that reputation for, I say we, I grew up in Madison. We have that reputation for being so cold, you know, in Wisconsin, but the summers are hot.
That was it. I mean, I came back and people said, how was it? And I said, it was so hot. You know, it's like the only other hottest place I can remember is Egypt that I've been to. Because I took 4 shirts for the whole 4 days thinking, you know, which is normal for me. But of course, as soon as I stepped out of those front doors, I needed a new shirt immediately. So I was completely stuck.